I'm going to be doing my go-to look right now, and this is geared towards being sweat-proof and budge-proof. This base routine specifically has not failed me yet, and I actually was at a barbecue the other day. My face was sweating like crazy mid, event, and then afterward, when my sweat had dried, my makeup was still where I placed it. So it's really just a great locked and loaded base routine. I love starting off with the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer. This is really the primer that keeps my makeup in place. I use about 2 full pumps, and then I just massage this into my skin. I even take it right under my eyes like this, and then all over my forehead, around my brow area, because it'll help keep brow pencil and brow color in place as well. And I'm not gonna lie, this is definitely a primer that you feel on your skin. You can see my skin is sticky, but that's really what you want because it gives your makeup something to anchor to, and it really helps just keep those base products exactly where you've placed them. So I still really like having a little bit of glow and illuminator on my skin, and I love the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter because this is more of a dry, lightweight illuminator, if you will say dry. You know what I'm saying, like sometimes illuminators are a little bit more sheeny and balmy in formula, and I do think that that interferes with longevity of makeup. So I like something that's lightweight and not tacky on my skin because it just lasts longer throughout the day. Dior Backstage is also really good. That one doesn't have a sticky finish either. Once I've got my illuminator blended wherever I'd like, I go in with my foundation, and lately I've been reaching for this one from L'Oreal. It's the Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation. I wear the shade Golden Honey 75. The reason I love this so much is because it's very pigmented. The formula is lightweight and fluid, and so you get so much coverage from such a small amount of product. And because of that lightweight formulation, it does not feel heavy, and it doesn't compete with that primer. It just sticks to that primer and they come together as one, and then I don't feel like I have, 70 layers of product on my skin. I really get the coverage that I want, and I also get the look that I want. When I'm applying this foundation, what I like to do is stipple it, because with that primer, you don't want to go in and start buffing right away. Use your brush to stipple and push the product in first so that the foundation can almost mold with the primer and really get stuck to it, if that makes sense. Like you can really get that primer to grab onto your foundation. So you're just doing these little stippling, pressing motions, and then once you've gotten the product pretty much spread throughout your face exactly where you want the coverage, you can then go in with your brush and just lightly buff. You don't need to do a lot of work with the blending because you don't want to disrupt that primer, but just so that you don't have a streaky finish, just lightly buff the foundation in. My favorite longwear concealer right now is the NARS Soft Matte Concealer, the one that comes in the pot. I use the shade Custard, and I like to pick it up on a little concealer brush, like a little fluffy one like this, so I can really almost get an airbrushed finish with it. This one's from BK Beauty. It's a 201. I'll just pick up a little bit of concealer, apply it right under my eye and right here where I want some brightness. Take it around the outer corner and just lightly blend this super soft under the eyes, just because I want a little bit more coverage and I really like a bright, awake looking under eye. Again, this concealer is a little bit more of like a dry, pasty consistency, so it's not as creamy and it doesn't migrate around the face as much as some of my other concealers do when it's hot out. But it gives you a really good amount of brightness, as you can see under the eyes. You get a really nice bright under eye, but you don't have to use quite as much product, and because it's matte, it's just got a little bit better longevity than some other of my favorite, like creamy, more luminous concealers. Then I'm gonna take the Revolution Super Fix Super Hold Setting Spray. Just lightly spritz this on my skin. give it a couple moments to dry. But I found that if I do my setting spray on these products while they're setting, it just helps them stay put a little bit longer. And then once this setting spray dries down, that's when I go in with my setting powder. I just found that sometimes when I spray my face after I've completed everything and I don't have a powder on top of it, it sometimes fades faster. So this is just a little switch up I've been doing in order of products, and I feel like it's really working for me. So just fan your face, get it to dry a little bit quicker. And I really love the Ilia Fade Into You Soft Focus finishing powder. It doesn't you know, emphasize any texture on my skin or anything that I don't want to be, you know, catching the light, because I've got some acne and just like texture on my skin right now. I'll take it on a Marc Jacobs bronzer brush, and you can see I push my powder in place. You don't want to be doing this like swipey swipe motion with your powder, because that is what causes lifting. So just soft little pat pat motions. And I'll show you my skin up close again. You can still see some, you know, under the skin breakouts and things like that, but overall it's not making the texture any more apparent. You can still see some under the skin breakouts and things like that, but I don't feel insecure about it. As long as it's not, you know, more apparent from the makeup that I'm wearing, I'm okay. If you don't have any texture on your skin like I do, one that I really love but reserve for good skin days when I want to set my makeup down is the e.l.f. Hello Halo. This one has a little bit of a luminous finish to it, so it really gives you this like nice all over glow. Again, the powder is super finely milled, and it's just easy to work with. It's never going to make you look chalky, and it just helps reinforce all of those liquid products from migrating or, you know, breaking down quite as quickly. So I love this one, but because of having a little bit of under the skin breakouts today, it would make them more apparent. So I'm gonna skip out on that, but would highly, highly recommend this. It's one of my favorite setting powders. When it is hot, I like using a powder bronzer. It just doesn't move around as much. This one's from Mario. It's in light medium. And I'm using my Laura Mercier finishing powder brush to just buff this in, give my skin a little bit of color, add some definition back into my skin. And I'll go like right on the jaw, take it to the ear. The undertone of this light medium shade works really well with my skin, and it just looks nice and natural. I'll also take a little bit of this bronzer and pop some in the crease of my eye, just for a little definition. For blush today, I'm gonna use MAC's Like Me, Love Me. And just tap that right on the apples of my cheeks. And blend it back. Again, prefer to use powders if it's gonna be particularly hot, because it won't move around as much. For brows, Revlon Color Stay Brow Creator, because it really stays put, and I just like this pencil a lot, and I think the shade matches my brow hair perfectly. I did try brow tinting. I used the Ardell brow tint kit, and I feel like I really liked it for a little while, but then it started fading quickly. But it looked really good for like a week. To set my brows, I'm gonna use the Anastasia Brow Freeze Wax. This stuff is incredible. My forehead can be dripping sweat and my brows will not budge. They will stay exactly where I put them. So I just run this throughout my brows, and you do wanna be, you know, aware of how much you're using. Like, I like to use a little bit extra if it's gonna be hot, so that all the brow hairs can be fully coated. For mascara, I'm going to be using the Lash Stiletto from Maybelline, one of my all-time favorites. This is the waterproof version, and even if I didn't use waterproof, I would still use it when it's really hot, because sometimes to like lighten the burden at the end of the day with makeup removal, I'll put water soluble mascara on my lower lashes and just waterproof on the top. But if it's really hot and I do that, I notice that the water soluble formulas of mascara tend to smudge and smear when your face is sweaty. So I would definitely just recommend a waterproof mascara when it's extra hot. I'm going to use one of my favorite Longwear waterproof lip pencils. This one's from Lancome. It's in the shade Ideal. I always like to do a little bit of overlining. And then one of my favorite Longwear lip glosses, it's the L'Oreal Infallible. I love the L'Oreal Infallible line, but the glosses are really amazing. This one's just like a pretty milky champagne color. It's in the shade Frosted. It's almost like when you use these glosses, once you apply them, they set down and then they almost like get a little bit more tacky and sticky, and I think that's what helps them stay put. All right, so this is my sweat-proof, budge-proof, hot weather-proof makeup look. I'm not kidding you. That base routine has been my standby these past few months, especially when it's like extra hot and humid. Although my face may get a little bit more oily throughout the day, my products stay where I've placed them. That primer is so good if you want your makeup to last a lot longer. And then also, I would love for you to try the tip of setting all of your liquid products with your setting spray and then powdering, and then let me know if that works for you, because I really think that's such a tiny tweak I made, and it really helps increase the longevity of my makeup by hours. Like, it's really made the biggest difference for me as well. So I would love to know if you try it. Let me know how it works out for you. I'm going to list and link all of these products in the description box for you. If you have any questions or need any tips or help with getting your makeup to last longer, I would love to help you out as best as I can, so you can leave them in the comments down below. But other than that, if you would subscribe and come follow me on Instagram, that would mean so much to me. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye everyone.